The Nintendo Switch is home to some blockbuster experiences and massive game sales numbers, but in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the top 10 must-play Nintendo Switch hidden gems. These are games with generally less than 2 million in sales, underrated overall scores on Metacritic, and games that gamers just generally don't talk about enough in the community. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting out at number 10, and that is Record of Lodoss War, Deer Lit, and Wonder Labyrinth. If you like Symphony of the Night, then you're probably going to like this game, because this is exactly what it is. Now, it's based off of an older anime, so fans of the anime, you've probably already checked this one out, but a lot of people do not know what this game is. But yes, Castlevania fans, definitely check it out. Metroidvania fans, check it out. So if you like Metroid Dread, if you like the DS trilogy that came out recently, then this is your game. Now, what makes it so good? Well, I would say that the gameplay is awesome. I love the fact that you have all these different abilities that you can get. The gameplay is super fast and smooth, 60 frames per second, and the map layout, classic Metroidvania style. You're going to be going, getting different abilities, coming back to different areas that you couldn't get to before, and the bosses are massive as well, and they're very fun to take down with all the different abilities as well. There's plenty of replay value, the music is great, the animation is super cool, and yeah, it's just one of those games that kind of went under the radar because it's not named Castlevania or Metroid, or it's not like Hollow Knight or something like that, but it's actually really good and absolutely an underrated gem on the Nintendo Switch. So Record of Lodoss War, Deer Lit, and Wonder Labyrinth makes it in at number 10. Number 9, Valkyria Chronicles 1 Remastered. This is a strategy RPG that has a blend of a lot of different styles of RPG games out there. It's kind of turn-based, it's kind of action a bit, it's SRPG, it's a little bit of everything all kind of mixed in, but it also has like that Advance Wars flair because you're using different types of guns and weaponry and tanks to take out your enemies. So it feels like a mix, Fire Emblem, Triangle Strategy, Advance Wars, just various different games kind of all put together. It's got a beautiful art style, it's got great graphics overall, and the music is fantastic, and it runs fairly well too on the Nintendo Switch. It's a great portable style game for Nintendo Switch Lite or even for Nintendo Switch OLED on the go. So I highly recommend Valkyria Chronicles 1 and even Valkyria Chronicles 4. That's not on this list here, but Valkyria Chronicles 1 and 4 are great. But starting right there at the beginning, this is a PlayStation 3 remaster on the Nintendo Switch, and it's fantastic. And I enjoy the story too. The story is also very, very good. So coming in at number 9, Valkyria Chronicles. Coming in at number 8, Katamari Damacy REROLL. Actually, both of the Katamari games are all of them, pretty much if you can find any one of them. I don't care what system you played on, but the games are on the Nintendo Switch, and these are the ultimate stress reliever slash just, I would say, zone off and do whatever you want type of game. Like, it's just a game where like this weird looking dude, and you're just rolling things into a big old ball with the time limit at times and racking up points and going from place to place. I don't even know what's happening in the story half the time. I don't even care really. I just like to play it back when I was going through a really stressful time in my life at the point back in 2018 or so, and I would play it all the time, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I think that it's one of these underrated titles that nobody really talks about at all on the Nintendo Switch, but it's actually really good. It's got some high review scores as well, but I don't really think many people bought the game on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, people don't buy Katamari at all, but I mean, I think it's a really fun game to play, and it's one of those games that grows on you. The more and more that you play, just like the ball that you're rolling up, full of different people and things and objects and items, it's the same thing. That's what happens in your mind as you play the game. It just continues to roll up into a ball, and it swells until you just continuously playing the game. So it's awesome in that respect. So Katamari Damacy REROLL makes the number 8 on the list. Before we get back into the list here, guys, if you're enjoying it, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my top 10s and more first. And let's go ahead and jump right back into it. And at number 7 is Star Ocean: The Second Story R. And I really love Star Ocean: The Second Story R. Honestly, all of these games that up can be almost in any single order, so it doesn't really matter at this point because Star Ocean: The Second Story R is phenomenal. One of the best games on the Nintendo Switch, hands down, and people just don't talk about it enough. Square Enix has not announced sales numbers for this game, so I'm guessing it's well under 2 million in sales. I still think that it's one of the more known old school RPGs on the Switch, but what makes it so good? Well, I would say the combat system. They really took the PS1 game and redid so many things to make it faster, more fluid, more fun, more in-depth, and a ton of new things added in as well. New content, better replay value overall, the 2 different stories. There are so many different things that you can do in Star Ocean the Second Story R. I really enjoyed my time with it, and I like the party variety as well. Like, you can be a magic user, you can also be up close and personal with melee weapons. It's one of those games that gives you a lot of variety, and I think it looks beautiful in the process. It just shows you how much, I would say, creativity that the developers had, because they did not have a lot to work with the PS1 back in the day for graphics. But it's cool because you can take this game, you can modernize it a bit, and you can see the vision in terms of what they saw for a sprawling world back then, and what they saw for gameplay and movement and action. And Star Ocean the Second Story R just brings that to life beautifully on the Nintendo Switch. Great game to play portably, great game to play anywhere that you want overall. And it's one of the games that I don't see like a lot on the top 10 RPGs list for Nintendo Switch titles. People don't talk about it as much, but it's a fantastic game and one of the best reviewed RPGs on the system, hands down. Just people just don't talk about it as much, and I think that they should. I also really enjoyed the story. I thought the story was really good, and I like how they kind of take, I would say, a worldview of how they think the world should be, and it's not exactly how it's all cracked up to be, like in many different types of ways. And Star Ocean games are known for this, but this one does an incredible job. I think better than even some of the newer games. I would say actually better than the newer games in perpetuating what they want to do with the story. So I really enjoyed that from all the different angles that it brings it from. So Star Ocean, the Second Story R, makes the number 7 on the list. Coming in at number 6, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. This is an Atlas Vanillaware title, and it is fantastic. I love the art style in the game, and I think that the story is really where this game shines more than anything, because the combat and the gameplay is okay. It's kind of weird. It's kind of really weird overall, and I'm not sure if I loved it when it comes to the combat and how you play the game, but I think that the story is really where it shines. The dialogue, the writing is very well done. I think that the translation was fantastic. You really grow attached to some of these characters and the plight in their world. It's a very somber type of tone, but at the same time, like, it gives you, I would say, hope for certain things in humanity, at least in their world. I really enjoyed the music in the game and the visuals. I felt that it was just a perfect blend of what Vanillaware does great, and a very unique and different type of game. This is not the type of game that you would normally play or see, and that's kind of what the hidden gems are all about overall, are finding games that kind of do things a little bit differently. They're not the most popular, obviously doesn't have the craziest action and everything that people would expect, but when you actually get to the core of the game and what it does, you're like, wow, that was an impressive experience that you don't really see quite a bit on the Nintendo Switch or really any system overall. So 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim makes the number 6 on the list. Coming in at number 5, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This is a game that came out earlier in 2024, and I absolutely adore it. And it makes for a very good hidden gem, because while people knew about it a bit, nobody really bought the game enough. And now it's on discount. You can get it for $20 or so, or even less in some places. So now is a perfect time to pick up the game as a hidden gem. What makes Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown so good? Well, let's start with the controls and the gameplay. One, it was built with the Nintendo Switch in mind first and foremost, then ported over to other systems. It runs at a smooth 1080p 60 frames per second on the Switch, and has complete crossplay with other platforms. So if you want to buy the Nintendo Switch version for a portable version and then get, like, let's say the PlayStation 5 version or PC version, you can do that, and you can have the same save file for all of them via network save. So that's awesome. Next, let's talk about the actual gameplay. The gameplay is fast, fun, and fluid. You've got a lot of different variety of skills and different things you can do. If you like Metroid Dread, if you like Castlevania, games like that, this is it. And I'd probably say Metroid Dread is the comp here. Even though it's more melee based than Metroid Dread, obviously that's shooting based, you can tell that they looked at Metroid Dread and said, okay, what can we do to kind of make our own version, but with a melee style combat and gameplay. There's a lot of variety as well within the combo system. Sometimes it even feels like you're playing Devil May Cry. Like, that's how in depth you can get with the combo system in the game. So you've got the best of games like Metroid Dread, you've got the best of games like DMC, or at least more like a DMC light overall, and I really enjoyed the visuals and the music, and the story is better than I even expected. The voice acting is solid as well. Graphics look great on your screen on the Nintendo Switch OLED. I had a blast just going through levels. You can even speed run and go through things as fast as possible. You can really try to go for 100% runs. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. They've got the difficulty as well. This game will kick your butt if you want it to. So it's one of those things to where it really checks every single box for an incredible 2D action adventure experience that's right up there. That's right up there with the likes of the best Metroidvania Metroid games on the platform. And that's why Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown makes the number 5 on the list. Coming in at number 4, another Vanillaware title, Unicorn Overlord, one of my favorite games of 2024. Why is this game so good? Well, one, it's perfect for the Nintendo Switch Portable Play, which is a running theme with a lot of these games. But two, it has so much gameplay variety in terms of the strategy and the unique nature of the game. The overworld and how you go about things, how you kind of command your units. It is something like Fire Emblem, but then very different from that, because you're on the board, you go, you pick your units to where you're going to go, you try to take over strongholds, and then as soon as you get into a battle, it kind of just plays out what you're going to do. So you have to plan very well beforehand before you jump into the battle and see what you're going to do. And there's just so much variety within the combat, the characters, the endings, who you can recruit. I really love the amount of different things that you can do in the game, and the story takes it all over the place. I mean, it is one of those stories that you would see maybe in a Fire Emblem title, kind of like that, but it takes a lot of different twists and turns. So I absolutely love what they did here with Unicorn Overlord, and I love the amount of skills and abilities in the game. So really, if you're having trouble with a certain person or boss or area or location, you can switch things up pretty easily and be able to get different results, a lot of really good results. There's all sorts of different super moves and different things that you can do with your team members and your platoons that you have. Man, it is a strategy RPG lovers fest over here. So it is fantastic. One of the underrated games. I mean, it sold over 1 million. People don't talk about it a ton as well when it comes to Atlas games, at least. They more talk about Metaphor and Persona and SMT, but Unicorn is right up there. It is so, so good. So Unicorn Overlord makes the number 4 on my list. Coming in at number 3, Chained Echoes. This is one of the games that kind of went head to head with Sea of Stars, which was talked about a lot more and played by millions upon millions of people. But Chained Echoes is just as good, if not better overall, because it does so many great things. This was a game that back when I first released my video on it, people didn't know about it, and it didn't really get 100,000 views. So definitely there is a fan base for this game, but as time goes on, less and less people talked about it. So what makes Chained Echoes so good and a hidden gem? Well, the first thing that I would say is that the combat system, the variety and uniqueness of the combat system is something like you've never played before. I love what they've done with the little meter and the buildup that you have and how you actually execute your big attacks and how you play defense and offense in this game, along with, oh, by the way, mechs at some point too. So it's a really nice mix, and it kind of reminds me of a really indie version of, let's just say, Xenoblade Chronicles X at times, which was really cool. That's the first thing that I thought when I saw this game. When I saw mechs alongside with humans, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like Xeno. Obviously it doesn't play anything like Xenoblade, but yeah, it's really cool in terms of how they've done that. What's even more impressive is the fact that like one guy made a lot of this game, so it's really cool to see what Matthias did and how he constructed this game. The music, the gameplay, the art in there, the graphics, the dialogue, the writing, everything is on point with it overall. And Chained Echoes is one of those titles that has mad replay value as well. It's like one of those classic old school Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger type of games. So I really, really enjoyed my time with it. I feel that if you give it a chance, you're going to have a lot of fun. It's a great game to play portable as well, and you're going to be laughing at some of the writing. You're going to enjoy the characters. There's a lot of fun to be had, but the combat system is a no grind type of game. So you're not going to have to worry about having to grind and having to level up to crazy levels, but there are some more advanced things for players who want to seek out the challenge in the game. So Chained Echoes makes it a number 3 on the list. Coming in at number 2, Triangle Strategy, a fantastic strategy RPG, which I'm hoping the rumors are not true, that they canceled a sequel to this game, because this game absolutely needs it, or I would love to have it. But if we just get triangle strategy, I think that is good enough, because this game does so many awesome things in the strategy RPG genre. Now, it's not the most revolutionary game overall when it comes to strategy RPG gameplay, but what it does incredibly well. I love the kudos system that really rewards players for doing smart strategy RPG plays. Backstabs, pincher attacks, other types of things to where you can overwhelm your enemies, beating enemies quickly on the map. You get more spoils, you get more rewards, get more experience, build up your characters more. You can do the graduating of classes in the game. And what I love about it, it's one of the most user-friendly strategy RPGs out there. One of the best overall for quality of life features. At any point, you can go to the encampment and you can level up. You can research the lore of the game. You can do different types of equipment. You can go and learn about the world. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that you can do. And once again, that encampment is available at any point in the game. Even if you're on the mission screen, you can go into the encampment and do other stuff. So you'll never get stuck overall, and you'll never have a problem in terms of customization with your team. And one of the best things about this game that had me thinking overall about how to play it was the decision that you have to make. You have certain key points that you have to get your team to vote one way or another in a democratic process overall, which was fantastic and kind of kept you on, like, you know, on your seat, like, oh man, are they gonna feel what I'm feeling, or are they gonna do what I would like them to do? And I like the whole period that you have to like gather information, and that can help affect how your team members feel about a certain decision or not. So I love that. Love the different endings in the game, how you can get like a perfect one and there's other sides to it and everything. So to me, triangle strategy just kind of hits every single point that you need to hit for an incredible strategy RPG experience, and is absolutely one of the hidden gem games. Obviously, it doesn't have the type of, I would say, notoriety as, like, let's just say Fire Emblem, for example, but it's still incredibly well done and good. I really enjoyed my time with it back when it came out in 2022, and that's why it makes it number 2 on my list. And coming in at number 1, Astral Chain. This is still a game that I will sit here and pound this table whenever I'm writing out my stories or what I'm going to do and say, more people need to play this game. Astral Chain should be 2, 3, 4 million unit plus seller on the Nintendo Switch, but hey, I'll take the 1.3, 1.5, or wherever the heck it's at, not at this point, because people did not give a chance for this game to do well after the initial Japanese sales, and it ended up rebounding quite nicely here in the US and in Europe. But Astral Chain absolutely deserves everybody's attention. And why does it? Well, I would say this: the gameplay is unlike anything that you have ever played. It is part JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, part cool Bayonetta style action game, DMC, whatever you want to call it. It's just this unique mix that you can't find anywhere else. And this is not me exaggerating or anything. This gameplay is off the chain. No pun intended. Astral Chain is absolutely incredible. I love the aesthetics of the game, the cool futuristic feel of it, and being able to have these different legions that are essentially like JoJo's, like I talked about, and you can do different types of attacks with them. You can unchain them and let them go at it, then pull out another legion. You have different styles too. They're all very different. You have a double sword legion, you have a dog legion, you have a big fist legion that can just punch the heck out of anything. You have a big great sword legion with great defense. You have an arrow legion. There are just so many cool things with this game that give you almost infinite combo and replayability overall. I like the fact that the game is all self-contained. The whole game, in terms of content, that can take you 20, 30 hours to beat through the main campaign. On top of that, missions to play afterwards that kind of complete a bit more stuff and are really, really difficult. So it's a complete game, all on cartridge, no DLC, no extra stuff needed at all. It's got fantastic gameplay. It's just so much fun to play. The story is a little hammy at times and isn't necessarily the best, but I still think that it's an enjoyable experience overall. The music is incredible. Platinum Games does not miss when it comes to their titles on the Nintendo Switch, and this one is no exception. This might be the best overall uniqueness of gameplay out of all the games that they've put together, and I feel that it's one of the greatest games that people just have not played enough and need to play more. It is a hidden gem. It is a hidden gem, but I think that it shines the brightest overall. So Astral Chain makes the number 1 on my list. So what are your Switch hidden gems that you want me to talk about in another volume, or you felt that I missed in this one? Let me know in the comment section below. And are you going to check out any of these games that I went over? I'd love to hear about it more. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.